Hey everyone, Kathy the Vegan Prepper here. I'm getting ready to take you on a little tour of the daily working pantry. And so my big pantry overhaul project has been much larger than I anticipated. But kind of early on, I realized that I need to split the functioning kind of daily life pantry from the storage and even an overflow pantry where I would be having extra quantities of items. And splitting those two has greatly increased the functionality of the daily pantry, and I'm really enjoying it. So I'm excited to bring you just a view of what that looks like. So especially even if you're not even into prepping, but you wonder, what does a vegan pantry look like? What are the kinds of things you might like to stock for your own family? This is probably a great video for you to see. And I'll go ahead and take you and show you some of the items, or basically all the items in the daily pantry. And I wish some things were not there, but I'm not editing those out. I'm just going to show you honestly what is in the pantry, and maybe talk a little bit about why certain things are in there and why you might want to put them in your own vegan pantry. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, we'll go ahead and start with this side because it's my favorite, because it's the prettiest, and it mainly has just a bunch of kind of commonly used dried goods. And I will go ahead and talk a little bit about them. This is like some of our powders for smoothies, barley grass juice powder, a camu powder, which I bought back when you couldn't buy vitamin C. So this is just like a little random bonus tip. If vitamin C ever becomes really hard to find again, camu powder is a great source of vitamin C that isn't labeled vitamin C. And then here is a basket. That is our liquid sweetener. So that's our molasses and our honey and our maple syrup. And I know somebody out there is saying honey is not vegan, and you are technically correct. I've talked many times about the honey, and I won't do it here just for time's sake, but you know, you can watch some of my other videos for my thoughts on all of that. And then here is a jar of goji berries, which I mainly use in oatmeals, granolas, muffins, even pancakes and things like that, like kind of almost like with raisins. They are a bit bitter and seedy, so they're not ideal for a lot of these applications, but things like muffins and granola, they're great, and super high source of iron and other good stuff, and so they're a great thing to have in a vegan pantry. Dulse is an excellent natural source of iodine. I like to just sort of put it in salads and in, you know, miso soup. Instead of like kombu, I do some dulse to give it that kind of seaweed flavor. Just some brown rice pasta, quinoa. I think those are kind of like self-explanatory. Quinoa is a great source of iron as well. It's a complete protein as it is. This is a great thing for when you're kind of in a rush because it takes as long as white rice to cook. However, it is still a whole grain and, you know, super healthy for you and all of that. Almonds, pumpkin seeds. This has dried mango, but it's actually dried bananas out of the dehydrator because that's what I have right now. And so these are, I freeze my bananas to preserve them, but I also dehydrate them sometimes, like for snacks. Figs and raisins. So this is kind of the healthy snack shelf, where ideally if somebody wants a snack, they would come to this shelf to grab something. Almonds are incredibly high in calcium. Good protein source. Pumpkin seeds are great iron source. Zinc, this is like an insanely good source of zinc on a vegan diet. And then, like I said, iron, protein, healthy fats. These are kinds of things that keep you full and keep you going. And then these are like sweet. So, but they're also, you know, a great hit of simple carbs. Like if you're really like needing a lift, or if you have a sweet tooth, these are great to turn to for, eating something sweet without it being, you know, a junky thing. Here's a pancake mix that I make. I have a video actually all about my pancake mix and how I use it. And then in the back there is a falafel mix, and it is the only thing in this pantry that's kind of double stacked. I just know about it. I don't use the falafel mix all that often, but we do really love it, and it makes almost like a chicken nugget type thing when I do little baked falafels with it, and I really love it. Here are beans, the ones that I have out in the containers anyway. Lentils, chickpeas, pinto beans. Again, great sources of protein, of iron, of zinc, and, you know, all kinds of, you know, things. Beans are practically a miracle food. The more I learn about them, the more I'm like, oh my gosh, everybody on earth needs to be eating way more beans. There's some containers down here. This is just, I'm trying to clear out all of the tea that I have had like for years, and I get gifted because people know I like tea, and so I get gifted tea in these bags, even though I prefer loose leaf tea because it's less wasteful. But this is just the section too, so we don't have any sodas in our house or like juices or anything like that. So this is what the boys and, you know, Adam, any of us, this is what we drink, or the loose leaf teas when we want a drink that's not water, and it's just here and accessible and ready to go. And there's always a kettle on the stove to heat up water and make tea. A thing of rolled oats, again, just great source of iron, actually surprisingly good source of iron, zinc, all kinds of absolutely incredible nutrition in oats. I actually didn't know how nutritious they were until I became vegan, and I started looking at it and I was like, holy crap. It's like every morning you can get like almost pretty much all your iron for the day just in your oats. Like, it's crazy. Cashews, iron, zinc. I make milk out of it, for Sage, or turn it into cashew cream, or, you know, whatever. Like it's a great thing to have on hand. This thing that's almost empty, I need to go back to the international market. This is our chana dal, which is Adam's favorite kind of bean. And I make various chana dal recipes, and it's literally like his favorite food. So yeah, then we've got some brown rice. I need to actually fill this back up. Almond flour and polenta. That's like a coarse ground cornmeal, which I use for cornbread, but actually pretty often I'll take this and mix it with the pancake mix to create like little cornmeal flatbreads for eating like with chili and things like that, and it ends up being pretty yummy. And then just down there's like baking soda, and then a big thing of sugar, which lasts us for eons. You know, I get it at Costco, and then the very rare occasion that we use it, like I'm gonna make a hot cocoa mix later that does use it. And so I don't use it very often, but that's where it sits. And then technically these things could go into an overflow pantry, but I do actually access the baking soda pretty often. So I leave it here. So I don't know, I might change that in a little bit. So let's go ahead and look at the other side of the pantry. Okay, and so I'll just start with the door. So I have a whole bunch of stuff in the door. And so up top, kind of out of reach of little hands, we have all the vitamins and supplements. And so it's just like multivitamins, and then a vegan omega-3, which we don't take all the time because, you know, we do eat a lot of flax and hemp seed and stuff like that. But this is more of like a just in case. And really that's what a lot of this is like, I don't feel like things are deficient. It's just like, this is like a just in case, you know, like, I don't know. I feel like, why not? Some people say it's really dangerous to do supplements. I don't know. It's like 80% of the population apparently is deficient in vitamin D or iron. So that's not vegans, you know, that's like, everybody kind of needs to look at their nutrition and make sure that they're getting good stuff. So the door is mainly for seasonings. These are things I haven't jarred up. It's like, I get them at the international market. Some of these kind of lesser used spices, just because I don't want to buy giant bulk bags of spices that I don't use as often. And so I've got like a big bulk bag of onion that I just got from Azure Standard, and I wish it wasn't plastic, but I'm kind of stuck with what I can access. And I use that to refill this, which I got from Costco. And so I'll refill these containers from other containers. It's the same thing like with my chili powder thing here. I refill that from a bulk bag of chili powder, which actually I need to buy some more. So yeah, it's just like seasonings. We use seasonings. I mainly cook Indian food and Mexican food. That's like the main thing that we have in our house. So that's why all of the seasonings are Indian seasonings, and I get them at the international market. Locally, I have a few bouillon cubes just because every now and then when you want to make like a chicken noodle soup or a beef stew, like this is what you need to give you the flavor of that thing. And so these are definitely not something I use very often. These have been sitting here for kind of a long time. Like I said, it's kind of very specific. I think I bought these back on, gosh, no, it was Adam's birthday. So this was like 4 months ago. I got these, or no, 3 months ago. I got these because I was making him beef stew for his birthday. With like some Beyond Meat and stuff, but like I don't cook like that very often, but it turned out so crazy good. But anyway, here's another source of dulse I get usually at Whole Foods. This is a great natural source of iodine, You see, like, in just 1 teaspoon, you get 220% of the iodine you need in a day. And iodine is the one that's hard to get on a vegan or really almost any diet. And so we make sure that we are consuming our seaweeds. And I just sprinkle it over top of stuff and you can't even taste it. And that's what I do. Or I can add a whole bunch of it to my chickpea salad, which I make like instead of a tuna salad. And then here's just another line of big bottles of certain seasonings that we use a lot of. Black salt is kala namak. It's the sulfur salt that gives tofu scramble its eggy taste. It's really good. Curry powder, garam masala, and cinnamon sticks. And again, I just end up refilling these as I go. And then everything but the bagel, because you have to have everything but the bagel. And these were on sale at Costco, and I just buy them in the large package, and I feel like it's a little less wasteful than the little jars. And then same thing with the cinnamon and the chopped onion. Here is the coffee shelf. So I have coffee, which I buy in bulk, and I reuse this bag over and over and over again. But then I get gifted, like this, actually Thad got gifted that. And then I was gifted this at Christmas, this coffee. And then this is from an old stash. And then we also do definitely use instant coffee just because it's so fast and it's just easy to use. So that's one thing, you know, I want to change that, but it's like there's so much else already going on. So that's definitely an area where I need to improve. Here's the washed bags. When I wash bags, they go into this container, this old tea container. Just some more seasonings. Here's the popcorn. I'm really excited. I just found popcorn on Azure Standard, so I can stop buying these plastic bags from Trader Joe's. So that popcorn will come in a paper bag. And I just bought a big 5-pound bag. So yay. And then some parchment paper, aluminum foil, and usually trash bags go down there. And then up in here, I don't know if I need to adjust the light. I guess here, yeah, we'll adjust the light a little bit. So here we have all of Adam's like sports drinks mixes and the things that he uses, and that's actually up there behind the beans as well. This is kind of an overflow box of beans. And one of the things about reducing the waste in the pantry and the space is trying to pare down how many of different things I buy. So that's why, like, over in the other side, I have those large containers of the beans that I intend to continue using going forward. So I will cook through these dried beans and then probably not buy any of these again and focus on the others. Although I think I will still buy red lentils because those are really handy. They only cook, they take like 2 or 3 minutes to cook in the Instant Pot. They're like a super fast bean. And then like quinoa takes only like 2 minutes in the Instant Pot. So you can put stuff in and have it kind of cook at the same time. So anyway, sorry, I'm getting off track. But so yeah, red lentils are super handy, but those are just some various dried beans, and I will cook through those and then probably just try to stick with kind of a smaller number of different kinds of beans to reduce waste and then also take up less space in my pantry. We have a few oils, and then back there too is a whole bunch of reusable cups. And so that's like stuff I don't really need to get to often. But yeah, so oil occasionally, like we do make some popcorn occasionally with some oil. For the most part, we eat oil free. And then I just use like a tiny amount of brushed olive oil for cooking my pancakes or like my little cornmeal flatbreads like I was talking about. And then this is also for seasoning the cast iron pans. And so it takes us a very long time to go through our oils. I also use the coconut oil for oil pulling daily. And then this shelf is just like some of our most frequently used canned items. Our coconut milk, which is very, very fatty, and we don't use it a huge amount of times, but you know, occasionally with the nice cream, we typically do use the soy milk instead, but sometimes you just want the creamy ice cream, and especially like if we have guests, we use coconut milk to make it taste better. And then diced tomatoes. I use so much diced tomatoes in my cooking, right? Mexican food, Indian food. It's a base of tomatoes. And then back here are tomato paste and green chilies, which I use for, you know, just our various recipes. Tahini is pretty commonly used. It's a nice healthy fat. I can make hummus with it and various other things. This is homemade almond and cashew butter because I am shifting away from store-bought nut butters, just because these jars are no longer recyclable in my area, and so there's no way of getting rid of them. So even if I buy a glass jar, I can't recycle it, and it makes me very sad. But also, this jar is like my favorite kind of jar. I keep these and I give them away as gifts, or when I do presents at Christmas time. It's just like the sweetest, cutest little jar. And so I do keep these specifically, like this specific jar. Like I almost buy this just for the jar. Then also a big collection of soy milk. This particular one from Trader Joe's is great because it's only water and soybeans, and that's it. And so this is suitable for making yogurt, which is mainly what I use it for, is yogurt and then like creaming coffee. And it's unfortified, so you have to have an unfortified and unthickened yogurt, or I mean milk for making yogurts. And then here's our Sun Warrior protein powder, mainly for Adam and his athletic stuff, but then also we like to throw it in just because it tastes so good. And then it gives the boys extra protein, like fully complete protein, you know, most like many Whole Foods, but this is something that's just like another extra kind of like just in case, like little extra boost. Canned beans, I'm actually phasing out canned beans. This year, I will still have a bunch of canned beans in my storage, like my long-term emergency storage. But as far as my goals are, I'm going to be cooking almost exclusively dried beans. In fact, I've got like 50 pounds of dried beans so far, which I've ordered on Azure Standard, which we're putting up for long-term storage, and I'll be cooking through those and just having them in the fridge. And then doing the soaking overnight and doing all that good stuff. One exception to that will be refried beans, just because I don't need even one more thing to make. Like in my, like seriously, I like nut butter, yogurt, sourdough bread, like for real. So I just have little canned refried beans, and these are super handy for days when it's like, what are we gonna eat? I don't know. Everybody make yourself quesadillas. So that's where the corn tortillas come from, just to make little quesadillas in the pan. And so here's kind of like seldom kind of random canned goods that I kind of just need to work through. This is from the pantry before, like a bunch of stuff that was sort of hidden. And I know what it is now. Like there's pumpkin, there's enchilada sauce, there's condensed coconut milk, like probably for holiday baking that I never did. And then some jars of this Better Than Bouillon, which is essentially similar to the chicken and beef stuff, but this does not have that chickeny beefy taste. But this is still really great for cooking grains and soups and whatnot. And so I just have it here just because it's such a handy flavoring, like to just flavor stuff. And so this is a great thing to kind of enrich stuff without having to work too hard at it. And this is one of the ones I wish I didn't have in here. It's like an old thing of pineapple that we had, like mainly like when we make pizzas, we put pineapple on. And ideally we have fresh pineapple, but we don't always. So at some point, I don't know we got this at some point, and I still have some of it left. And then this is just a whole bunch of dehydrated food. And so I need to find better storage for that, but I'm cooking through that as well. It's really handy. And then I want to make some soup mixes and stuff. And so that's all there for me when I'm ready to do that. Here's a whole bunch of, this is like the baking shelf. And then also like granola. So it's kind of like imperfect for sure, but it's, you know, like powdered sugar, decorating sugar, Adam's carob chips we get on Azure Standard, like oat flour, carob powder, cake mix that I made, and you know, little raisins and things like that. So this is kind of like the baking shelf. And then like a little bit of overflow tea. Dates here as well. They stay good at room temperature for kind of a ridiculously long time. I have dates here, which we use for sweetening up smoothies. This is almost like sugar, really. Like if you want to make an avocado pudding, the best avocado pudding in all the land, just use dates to sweeten it, and it tastes like you put sugar in. It's just so delicious. And so dates are like my go-to for sweetening things up and making it taste like it has sugar when it doesn't, because obviously it is still sugar, but it's like fruit sugar, like and it comes complete with its fiber and all that stuff. And that being said, here's some chocolate chips. This is like our sweet treat. So you get like a tiny kind of handful of it, and then that's what we have in the house as a sweet treat. And then I wish, this is the last one thing I wish was not in here to show you. And this is another thing I wish was not in here. So there's a couple of bags of chips. So we do occasionally have chips in the house. I do still have young kids. I am the only one in the house who's overweight. Everybody else is very trim and fit, and they just like to eat snacks every now and then. And so I just have stuff and sort of purposefully don't have a lot of it so that you have to kind of meet it out more slowly. But yeah, these are just a couple bags of chips from Trader Joe's. Let me move those. So here's large containers, rice and whole wheat flour. This is what I use to make my bread with. And then this is like, I shoved walnuts here because I didn't know where to put them. But yeah, there's walnuts there. And then back here is a tray of like random liquids. So that would be, or kind of random things like the sesame seeds. But then spill over like ketchup, hot sauce, coconut aminos, even like pickled jalapenos. Like certain things are back here, kind of like random condiment type stuff, I guess is a better way to say it. And then back here is the overflow of some of the things that we use very frequently, such as flaxseed, hemp seed, cocoa, cacao powder, nutritional yeast, and all of that stuff. I'm really looking forward to sourcing on Azure Standard instead, because so much of it just comes in paper instead. Here is the only parchment paper that actually doesn't stick to vegan baking, and it's compostable, so I love that. And then down here, you can see is a lot of our liquid storage, our fire extinguishers, some brown rice. I just need to refill the other thingy, and then that's going to go back into the overflow pantry. But yeah, some extra lemon juice, apple cider vinegar, a whole bunch of water, and then my rum, which I use for my tinctures and whatnot. The the leftovers, gosh, a few years ago, I bought Ziploc bags. And so like when we run out of ones we've already washed, we dip in. But then also I have some of these just because occasionally you just need a method of taking something somewhere in like a quick thing. And then these are compostable. And so I have those as well. And yeah, that's what we have in our pantry. So yeah, wow, I got to the end of it. Okay, so there it was, our pantry tour, and I hope that you found that helpful. It's kind of surprising. I don't know, like it was 20 minutes, but it feels like it went by a lot faster than that. Hopefully that was helpful at all. You can see kind of what the staples are in our house so far. And once I have a grip on the overflow pantry and the long-term storage pantry, I will definitely bring you that. For now, do I even dare? Yes, I showed you my chips. Here it is. I just, like, there's just so much, and it's just kind of in my studio now. So basically what's happening right now is the laundry room is being overhauled again. I am getting rid of stuff out of the laundry room like you would not believe. It's like a little room that's connected to the garage, and it isn't very huge, but basically what's going to happen is almost anything that is in storage in the house that is not food is getting moved out to that space so that all of this extra storage can be used for food, because we live in an extreme climate where we hit, hugely hot temperatures in the summer. And so it is not possible for us to store food outside of the air-conditioned house. So that's kind of the reason that the rest of it is taking so long. But we're working at it, and it's getting done, and it will get done. And as soon as it's done and I have it kind of together, I will show you more of that. Like over there, it's like beans and oats and just, it's like, it's everywhere. I'm starting to put it everywhere. But yeah, so I can talk more about it. This is already, long enough. And so if you've watched this far, I guess congratulations and thank you, or maybe more thank you. Congratulations to me if you've watched this far. But if you have any questions or comments, please let us know down below. Clearly, like I said, we are far from perfect, but we're working very hard at not only being more whole foods, but at making ourselves as zero waste as possible. Like I said, I make my own nut butter now, my own bread, my own yogurt, there's so much that we do to try to cut down on our waste, but obviously we can't do it 100%. So there's definitely things, even just watching the video, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I gotta stop, I gotta quit. Like I gotta quit instant coffee. I don't know. Anyway, all right. I guess that's all. So, thank you as always. And yeah, let me know down below anything that you want to talk about. But yeah, as always, I hope the rest of your day is good and your life stays wonderful. Thanks so much for watching. See you later. Bye.